This episode is proudly brought to you by Helix NJ, which recently made some big news, some very big news. In case you missed it, Nokia Bell Labs announced their plans to invest in a new state-of-the-art research and development facility located at Helix NJ. Nokia considered approximately 25 different locations across the country for their new home, but ultimately they chose the Helix because of its proximity to major cities, its access to talent, its community of industry-leading companies and universities, and because of its cutting-edge facilities and environments. For those not yet familiar, Helix NJ is a new 5-acre state-of-the-art innovation district located in the heart of New Brunswick, New Jersey that will house some of the world's most brilliant minds, projects, and organizations pursuing critical, life-improving innovations. To learn more, visit www.helixnj.com. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Greetings from the Garden State, powered by the New Jersey Lottery. I'm Mike Ham. We are here in Manahawkin today at the Jetty flagship store with Jeremy DeFilippis. Jeremy, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for having me here. So we got all the apparel back here. You know, there's so many things happening, and this has been one that I've talked about quite a bit with like friends. You know, like we're out talking about, oh, what episodes are you recording this week? And I say Jetty, and surprisingly, I mean, a lot of North Jersey people, so that's maybe like a little bit different. They're like, oh, I didn't even realize Jetty was a Jersey brand. And I'm like, yeah, been here for how long?
This is our 22nd year in business.
Yeah.
Started in 2003. And yeah, started right here in LBI in Manahawkin.
Yeah, which is crazy to think that, you know, like this brand that you guys have been able to build right here, just kind of in a shore town, you know? And you're in like across the country now too, and you're like a major brand.
Yeah, we definitely have our place in the surf market and the outdoor market, and yeah, we always talk about how Long Beach Island is kind of a great hub.
Yeah,
and so many people from the Philadelphia and the New York and North Jersey area visit here, and even beyond that, and feel like that was crucial to Jetty growing over the years because they were able to take that home with them.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily knowing that we were a Jersey-rooted company,
sure.
but you know, obviously we own and operate in this region.
Yeah, which is great. So let's talk about this space that we're in right now, because this is kind of like, I feel like the brain center of everything that's kind of happening with Jetty and all the other things that you have going on. So talk to me about this physical location that we're at right now.
Yeah, this is the Bay Avenue location with our flagship store downstairs is, you know, about 1,600 square feet, our first proper store. And we bought this building in 2021 and refurbed it. And it's become kind of our headquarters. So upstairs where we're at right now is conference room, the operating partners, the marketing department, and the product development department. So the departments that collab every day, and obviously we communicate and collaborate with the other departments, but those are the ones that come to work every day here.
Yeah. And so, you know, the stuff that you're doing, you know, I think is really interesting because I'm sure the brand itself has evolved a lot over the 22 years that it's, you know, been a brand. So talk to me, like, let's do kind of like origin story, and then what those first couple products maybe that you produced were, and then we'll kind of go through the whole trajectory of the brand.
Cool. Yeah, origin story is a good one. 5 high school buddies that went to Southern Regional High School, which is right here in Manahawkin, went on a snowboard trip. The funny part is I didn't go. I was broke at the time, and just couldn't make the trip up to Mount Snow. And my 4 buddies basically came back and said, Germ, you know, we had the idea of starting a surf brand, and one that's rooted on the East Coast, because everything we grew up wearing in high school was basically West Coast or international based, whether California or Australia.
Yeah.
And we just thought there was a niche there to start an East Coast lifestyle surf company. And, you know, fast forward a few months after that snowboard trip, and we had 3 T-shirts that were locally printed, and went from there.
There you go. So like, what were you doing at the time Like, how old are you at the time when this all gets started?
I was fresh out of college.
Okay.
So,
So it's like just trying to figure life out.
yeah. So it was, yeah, definitely. I'm still trying to figure life out. That's part of the fun of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was 2003. So I graduated University of Delaware in 2001. So, I was 23 years old.
Yeah.
Really, searching for something for a career.
Yeah. And then, so like 3 t-shirts, locally printed t-shirts. That's kind of how you get started. Was there the plan that you guys, I guess if there was a plan, because this show started with no plan and here we are 2.5 years later, but like the plan in place at the beginning, was it just like, we're going to do like print t-shirts that people are going to think are cool and they'll buy them, which,
I could lie to you and say there was an elaborate business plan.
You don't have to.
But there was not. There was somewhat of a business plan. But basically, yes, you're right. It was, let's make some cool, well-designed t-shirts. People will buy them, and that will allow us to work for ourselves and to travel and surf.
Yeah. And so print the t-shirts, you get started, and Jetty, I'm assuming, comes from, just like the shore stuff, and like that was like where the name came from.
Yeah. Another good origin story is there were 2 names that we picked from. One was Jetty and one was Daybreak. Obviously, we picked Jetty.
Yeah.
And we grew up surfing off of the jetties, fishing off of the jetties, and, kind of pinpointed that although Jersey is kind of famous for them, they're all over the world.
Yeah.
And they protect the shoreline, and it's just the brand that we picked and trademarked. So.
Yeah. And it looks good on a shirt and a hat and all that, it's like tight, nice and tight.
Yeah, it's pretty timeless,
Yeah, right.
The type treatment, the logo that
exactly
we ran with.
Yeah. So what was there like a positive initial reaction to like those first few products that you produced, or was it kind of like, hey, we did 3 t-shirts, then we did a couple more? Like, how did that kind of happen?
Yeah, there was I guess in 2 facets. One was the surf shops that we grew up patronizing, and going into to buy boards and apparel and get wax and get what we needed. 3 of those local shops, Faria's, Surf Shack, and Surf Unlimited, kind of put us right into the mix.
Cool.
It's funny looking back because the t-shirts looked really crappy, and the designs were suspect. But at the time, 20 plus years ago, it was something new and different, and it was something that a few local guys were throwing together. And it was received really well.
Yeah, which is cool. And so then like almost divvying up the work, so to speak, too. Like how did that come? Because like you said, you don't even go on this initial trip, but yet here you are sitting here with me kind of on the show. But like, talk to me about that. Like, because, working with your buddies to kind of get the business kind of off the ground, it's at the start.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that has evolved a ton for the 20 plus years, but in the very beginning, I was kind of the numbers financial guy. One of the other guys kind of headed up the screen printing, or 2 of the other guys, because we outsourced the first few runs of shirts, but quickly found that we wanted to do them and learn the art of screen printing and do them on our own. And there was, 1 or 2 guys that kind of handled the design, and we delegated stuff to each other and had meetings and tried to act like a real business. But the reality was it was just trial by fire. Just learning from doing. And we were all college graduates and, all fresh out of college.
Yeah. Education's got to be good for something.
Right. But they don't tell you, they don't tell you how to run a business. There's aspects that you learn, but you really just have to jump in and learn it. Yeah,
for sure. And I totally feel, because this is what I do full time, so it's just like try to build something into a business that's like kind of like a creative project. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, I'm just going to start trying stuff and lose money, make money, whatever it is. So those like first, because 22 years is a really impressive run for an apparel company, I feel like. And so at the beginning, was it kind of like, were there moments of, all right, this is kind of run its course, or was it kind of something that you kind of saw the success and there was moments, I'm sure there's both, moments where you're just like, we got something here, like this is pretty cool.
Yeah, the original founders, 5 of us, there's only 2 of us that are still here. There's a great story about another co-founder, Bill McLennan, who actually runs Jetty Inc. now. So he circled back and, is a director, senior director in the company now. And the other two just kind of found their way with families and homes and different career paths. So it changed in regard to the partners. I forget the question.
Like the company itself kind of having like, you know, those moments of like, this is kind of.
Yeah. So there were moments of clarity for the individuals involved.
Yeah.
I think Corey and I always saw this as a means to an end, as far as like, this is what our career was going to be.
Yeah.
We stuck it out bartending and for a lot of years and multiple jobs, wearing multiple hats. I owned a tax preparation business from 2006 to just a couple of years ago. But yeah, there were definitely moments financially where some of the other guys saw the writing on the wall and we weren't getting paid and we stuck it out. But there were times, you know, there are still moments where, you know, it's pretty tough. We have a lot on the line, personal guarantees, our houses, big bank line, to buy that inventory. But I'd say the dream is still fresh and alive.
Yeah, rolling right along. Yeah. And so also take me through kind of like the product. This is going to be a better question. We'll get into like the actual products that you sell in a minute. But you talked about, you know, when you start this brand, and at the time, a lot of the, you know, surfing, that kind of stuff, outdoor brands were more West Coast focused or, you know, based. And obviously this one's East Coast based, which is one way it kind of stands out in the sea of brands that exist in that space. But from your opinion, or, you know, your guys' business plan or whatever, what is some ways that Jetty kind of separates themselves from other brands in that market?
Yeah, competitive advantage.
Yeah.
One, just geographically being from the East Coast, especially the Northeast. Feel like the blue collar, work hard, play hard mentality is really firm.
Yeah.
And what Jetty's about, and that separates us, you know, distinctly from the West Coast, where things are more laid back and chill and sunshine and rainbows and palm trees. I mean, whereas here we're surfing year round in frigid waters and and dealing with the waves not being good all the time, being pretty fickle, and chasing a bunch of other passions too when we're not in the water surfing. You know, the hiking, the fishing, hey, there's no waves, let's find something else to do. And just with the 4 seasons here, you know, summer's really great. It's warm. Everyone's smiling. And that is a little touch of that sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
Basically, the other 3 seasons, you know, aside for some moments of brilliance, are cold and tough and rugged and raw.
Yeah.
And, you know, being an outdoor surf company, we're out there fighting the elements, doing what we love to do.
Yeah. Talk to me also like about, because what I am starting to gather like a little bit just from this conversation and some of the research that I did, you know, prior to this episode and all that, is like I feel like Jetty does a very good job at the community aspect of business. You know, so like you talked about how when you guys first got started, it was local shops that you frequented already that kind of was, you know, selling the first couple T-shirts.
Yeah.
And then over time with like different collabs that you've done, we'll get into the foundation a little bit too. Like talk to me about, and, you know, just kind of being local guys with a local brand that people wanted to support. Talk to me about like the importance of that too, because I think that's a huge part of what Jetty's all about.
Yeah. Community is, you know, another pillar that the company's built on, that the brand is passionate about. And really what happened was opportunities presented themselves early on in the early 2000s where, you know, it was Hurricane Katrina and we made a shirt and raised $1,000. Or it was a local that needed eye surgery and we were contributing to a party at a local bar to help raise money for them.
Yeah.
And as the years went on and as we understood the power of the events and the community a little bit more, we really laid into running fundraisers. I mean, today we run 8 to 10 major events a year, and they're all run through the Jetty Rock Foundation, and they're all charitable in nature.
Yeah.
So we like to keep that connection with the brand that, hey, yeah, you're supporting us by buying clothing that you can use as in your active lifestyle. But behind that is, we're really channeling money through our nonprofit to help people.
Yeah.
And to support the environment as well.
Talk to me about Jetty Rock Foundation a little bit too, because like, when did that start? Was that early on in the process, later on in the process? Because, to have 8 to 10 major fundraisers kind of going on over the course of the year is a lot too.
Yeah. So the events I just mentioned early on were like 2005.
Okay.
And we ran a couple fundraisers for friends in the community that needed help. But when Jetty Rock Foundation became official as a 501c3 was 2012 when Hurricane Sandy hit.
Sure.
So that was the watershed moment. And, we were such a small company looking back 10 plus years ago. But again, we had kind of learned from Katrina, like, hey, we print shirts. The few surf shops we're in at this time are trash. There's piles of sand and water in them.
Yeah.
So what do? We rally the community. We get some volunteers to come help us print this now kind of famous Superstorm Sandy shirt. Unite and Rebuild was the name of our campaign. And I think we sold like 2,400 of them in the first 24 hours.
Wow.
Like broke our website.
Yeah.
Exposed our small company for everything it was not.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And it was a tremendous learning experience, but an incredibly powerful one.
Yeah.
And basically, one of our partners said, hey, we have hundreds of thousands of dollars coming in here. Like, we're going to get taxed on this. We better form a nonprofit. And that was kind of the epiphany at that time. Like, hey, let's kind of legally separate out the fundraising and, we can market it and still do all together.
Yeah.
But there's separate books for the JRF.
Sure.
And it works nicely.
Yeah. I love that it's just kind of like you said, this whole trial by fire and kind of figuring out as you go, because you really don't know, I mean, you could put the best plan ever in place, but it doesn't always work.
I mean, in the beginning, we definitely didn't have a ton on paper, budget or business plan wise. But you know what? Over the past 5 years, we did have a lot on paper down to the nitty gritty details. And between COVID and recession and economy and just industry stuff and too much inventory, like it's just really hard.
Yeah.
And you just need to, roll with the punches and keep the boat afloat. And for us with 50 plus employees, keep everyone rowing in the right direction.
Sure.
Is really important.
Yeah. So before we kind of let me just check the time. Oh, we're doing great. So before we kind of get to the end of this segment of this episode and kind of pick up again in the second half. So as far as just like the people are unfamiliar with the types of products that Jetty sells now, started with a couple t-shirts. Now you can see there's still t-shirts, but there seems to be a lot more stuff. So like, what are the things you're producing, making? Like what are things that they come buy from Jetty?
Yep. We started with 3 t-shirts, men's only. And that grew quickly into, hey, our female friends want stuff. So there were tank tops and our friends with families butting up want, infant onesies and jumpers and toddler gear. So in the beginning, it was basically designing and printing on blanks. And then as the retailer count grew, they wanted to see more product diversity. Yeah. And you get into hats, and then you start to figure out, how do we build a flannel? How do we build a waterproof jacket? To the point now where we have so many SKUs, we can fill up the full store downstairs, as you saw. Yeah. And, we've become more than just kind of a fashion forward t-shirt line, which it was in the beginning years, to everything really except denim and footwear. We can cover you head to toe with headwear, with outerwear. We've done a collab with base layers and underwear. Yep. We've done socks. So we're constantly tweaking that and searching for that perfect mix of product.
Yeah. Then what I also like too is you were talking to me off mic a little bit about how we talked about like this location, but then also other pieces of it, other parts of the company kind of all being pretty local, and being able to kind of produce stuff and get it out there for people to know that a lot of it's done like right here in the state or in this area too.
Yeah, we're blessed. And, we rented a lot of different office spaces and warehouses and worked out of our own garages over the years. Really, even initially had inventory in my bedroom in file boxes.
Yes. Yeah.
And now we're to the point where we have 3 buildings, 2 of them owned, 1 of them leased. One is the screen printing facility, Jetty Inc., where we print all of our, we call printables, blank garments that we print on, and also print for other events, contractors, brands. We just did a great thing with the New Jersey Devils. So we have a whole separate business of printing for other people while we support a good part of our product line. And then we have a distribution center, which we purchased an old gym that was owned by Hackensack Meridian last January. And that was a trying time because we basically ran out of space, outsourced to a 3PL in 2022, let other people distribute our goods. They did a less than stellar job. We'll keep it at that.
Yeah.
Forced us to buy a pretty big piece of real estate. And as of January 2023, we brought everything back in-house and kind of abiding by our mantra, draw your own line.
Sure.
And it just seems that when we do stuff on our own, authentically with our own hands, whether it's the screen printing or the shipping and distribution, it seems to work a little bit better and feel a little bit more right.
Yeah. A little more control.
Yeah.
Because you can't put the quality and the reputation of your brand, and in some cases you have to, but in the hands of somebody else, sometimes it makes it harder and it less control.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the fact that we have 3 buildings in a couple few square miles here in Stafford Township, and a great group of, I think 51 employees is the count right now. And we just make the dream work.
Yeah.
We have an unbelievable team, and it's so cool that I grew up here in this town, and now we're giving back in a different way where we're employing people and coming to work every day, in an area that's like not known for manufacturing or warehousing. Before we bought that building, we were kind of cringing at the fact that we may have to go up to Lakewood to an industrial park and we just have everything so tight right here in Stafford and, with some room to grow. So it's fulfilling.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. So for time, we're going to take our break and then we'll be back. We'll talk more about a bunch more stuff that I have to kind of jot down here. But so this is the Greens for the Garden State podcast powered by the New Jersey Lottery. I'm your host, Mike Ham. We're here at the Jetty flagship store in Manahawkin with Jeremy DeFilippis. We'll be right back.
The Male Performing Arts Center is the heart of arts and entertainment in Morristown, New Jersey. MPAC presents over 200 events annually and is home to an innovative children's arts education program. To see MPAC's upcoming schedule of world-class concerts, stand-up comedy, family shows, and more, head to mayoarts.org or just click the link in our show notes.
Hey folks, I want to tell you about the crew over at Make Cool Shit. These are the magicians who recently gave our podcast a jaw-dropping makeover. You know how we roll here at Greetings of the Garden State podcast, right? We're all about that Garden State attitude. Well, Make Cool Shit shares that same vibe, and they've got something absolutely epic to offer. It's called the Unlimited Cool Shit Design Subscription. It's a game changer, my friends. Imagine this: unlimited creativity, one flat monthly fee, and none of that boring stuff. It's like having your very own army of design superheroes on speed dial. Whether you're a fresh-faced startup or a seasoned business looking to shake things up, the team at Make Cool Shit has got your back. It's all about making your brand sizzle, no matter where you are in your journey. So if you're ready to turn your ideas into mind-blowing realities, then it's time to connect with Make Cool Shit. To check them out on Instagram at WeMakeCoolShit or visit their website, WeMakeCoolShit.co. Remember, that's co, not com. All right, we're back for segment 2 of this episode of Greetings for the Garden State, powered by the New Jersey Lottery. I'm Mike Ham. We're here in Manahawkin at the Jetty flagship store with Jeremy DeFilippis. So I think what prompted me reaching out to you guys, and you mentioned it in the first segment, was the Devils collab, which I thought was really cool. We had done some stuff with the Prudential Center, and we're going to do some stuff with the Devils a little bit later this year. But talk to me about kind of how that happened. We'll get into some of the other collabs that you're doing with other, local businesses and stuff like that. Ones that you've done, ones you have coming up. So talk about the Devils one, because I think that one's really interesting and cool.
Yeah, and it happened early in 2023. And I guess the story is someone on the Devils marketing team is a Jetty fan or had some Jetty gear and walked into a marketing meeting and they were doing a campaign, which is basically like Jersey roots, like homegrown Jersey type of thing.
Yeah.
And this person suggested that they work with Jetty to do a collab. And so many months later, after many design mock-ups, we landed on some agreed upon designs, and they placed an order, and we shipped it to them. It's only available at the team store at the Devil's Den.
Yeah.
So it's pretty limited as far as who can grab it by actually going to the Prudential Center.
Sure.
But the good news for us is I think we're on like almost shipment number 4 at this point.
Oh, cool.
And it only launched later in 2023. So the response has been amazing, and, you know, kind of Jersey strong, and proves that our customers cross over with their customers and demographic.
Yeah.
And it was really fun to create content and create some great videos. Really fun to go there with the crew to a game the night that it launched and see it up on the big screen.
Yeah.
And to see customers pulling it down off of the racks, and, you know, just very fulfilling and cool to work with, you know, a National Hockey League team.
Sure. Like, to me, that's got to be such a crazy experience, because, like, you know, thinking back at that point, you know, 21 years since you started the business, and kind of like those first couple shirts, and then now to being like on the Jumbotron at a Devils game and collaborating directly with them, and, you know, then watching people like in their store buy your stuff that you made, and then continuing to buy them, you know, even after that first launch. That's got to be almost like a surreal experience.
Yeah.
I can't even wrap my head around that.
Yeah, we walked into the Devil's Den, and the 6 or 7 of us were all holding our phones up, basically just videoing people rip stuff off of the racks. And we were turning to each other like, holy shit, man, like there's not even much left. And we went there with like lists for our friends to bring stuff back, because again, you have to go to the game to buy the stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little bit of like pinch yourself type of moment.
Yeah.
To be working with an NHL team, and for them to come to us.
Sure.
It's not something that we dreamed up, but it does open up our minds creatively to do.
Yeah. What else?
What else can we do? Who else can we collab with? And there's power in collaborations and sharing audiences and marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100%. I mean, that's literally what this whole thing is built on, is collaborations and different audiences and all that. So what are some other businesses that you've, because we could just, let's say, Lowtides, I know, is one, because we had Lowtides on the show. I forget when. It was probably like last year at some point, maybe the year before. But other ones you have coming up, let's talk about those.
Yeah, Lowtides was a great one, and we're releasing a new collab with them this year. Great, number one, because they're from Jersey, and number two, because they're adding a hard good to our line of soft goods. So really cool to be able to put Jetty beach chairs out there.
Yeah.
The other hard good, excuse me, the other hard good was Priority Bicycles. We've been working with out of New York for the past couple of years, and there's going to be a third installment of that one. And have done some great runs of beach cruisers. I think we've done 50 beach cruisers the last 2 years.
That's cool.
The last 2 summers, and they've sold out.
Yeah.
And those guys are great. They've supported our events on the Jetty Rock side. And in fact, we have an event fundraiser this weekend, Arctic Outreach, and they sent down just today a custom Arctic Outreach bike.
Cool.
That we'll raffle off. So that's been a cool one. Again, a hard good, and kind of fits with the lifestyle, but it's not something that we make.
Yeah.
And I guess the one that we're very excited about this year is Kona Big Wave Beer.
Oh, cool.
So Anheuser-Busch's team came to us last year, and again, we've been developing a great marketing plan that includes fundraising events, that includes a collab design that we got a sneak peek at last night, actually. And Kona's been blowing up as a beer.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're partnering with us because of our relationships on the Jersey Shore. Yeah. And hopefully beyond there. But to get their beer out there and we can kind of celebrate it together. They're from Hawaii, but the beach coastal lifestyle and the surf aspect.
Just perfect.
It fits together really well. So
Yeah.
we're excited about that one.
Yeah. Also, speaking of beer, you told me before we started recording, I didn't even realize, but you guys have your own beer.
We do.
Yeah. Talk about that.
So started, over 10 years ago.
Oh, wow. That long.
Yeah, we contract brewed with Flying Fish, which I believe is no more, but was a Jersey brewery.
Yeah. Like just recently, no more, I think.
Yeah. So just thinking back to when we visited their facility and they kind of said, hey, we private label stuff all the time.
That's cool.
So we experimented with that. And then we really wanted to push it into having a unique beer and a unique recipe. Tried another brewery down in North Carolina. It was too far away, too costly to ship beer all the way up 95.
Yeah.
And landed with Double Nickel, which really is another collaboration that has been going for several years now. And have a few unique beers, sell a few thousand cases a year. Last year we did a 20-year anniversary beer, which went over really well.
Yeah.
Limited edition. And even though we're doing the Kona thing this year, the Jetty beer will live on in the background as sort of a fun marketing endeavor.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, well, why do you guys have a beer? It just fits the story.
Yeah.
You know, we go surfing, we have a great session, you get a barrel, you have a great wave, you want to toast after it and talk about the day's events.
Yeah.
Sit around the fire, you know, bring one up on a hike up in the mountains.
Sure.
So it's a fun marketing piece to the equation right now. Maybe it becomes a revenue stream one day.
Yeah.
But for now, it's more of a marketing piece.
Yeah, just having the name out there in a lot of different ways. So I think that's a really cool thing. So as we're kind of going through all these different pieces of the business, I think it's really interesting where it's not necessarily pigeonholed into one thing, you know, and it's evolved quite a bit over the last 20 years. What are things, I mean, if maybe that's like some of the stuff that we just talked about, but some of the other things that you're trying to kind of break into, like different types of stuff, like what's next for Jetty?
Yeah, I get hyped up talking about the Jetty Rock Foundation.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've donated over, I think, $2.2 million since our inception.
Amazing.
And just such an awesome part of it. I love that we print our own stuff with Jetty ink. I love the beer, obviously. But I think sometimes we skip over what we truly are, which is an apparel business.
Yeah.
And we are selling in, I think, upwards of 700 retail stores across the country now.
Yeah.
And in Canada and in the Caribbean. Definitely, you know, have focused a lot on brick and mortar and growing that wholesale business. I think those retail partners are a really important part of the marketing puzzle.
Yeah.
You know, they're giving us space. They're giving us either wall space or rack space. And you can tell your story in lots of different places, which is different from downstairs at our flagship store, which,
Right.
you know, is our headquarters and where we grew up and where we're operating our business. But different than these retail partners that come to trade shows and pre-book orders from us and allow us to produce in true quantities.
Yeah.
So I think moving forward, the plan, you know, is to grow the wholesale base, you know, continue to sell more to our existing customers and grow our storytelling within those retail stores. Also open up a couple more retail locations, likely in Jersey. We got to find the right sweet spot. Was out stepping on the retail partners' toes and just finding those right situations and growing, you know, the direct customer business as well, which is obviously heavily online.
Yeah. Right.
So again, balancing the wholesale with the flagship store, with the online. And then we also have a box truck that we outfitted that rolls around to events. And,
That's cool.
And I think we did over 100 events last year. So kind of tastefully and tactfully putting Jetty in front of people across the country, and certainly a lot in Jersey.
Yeah.
In the right spaces, in the right locations, at the right events, finding the right locations for a couple new stores, and just diversifying the product assortment.
Yeah.
You know, I think we just had a meeting this morning. It sounds like we're going to probably offer some more technical pieces
Okay.
for the outdoor aspect. We actually have wetsuits coming in this year, something we never did. So that's a cool piece to the story and a cool product.
I'm surprised it took that long.
Yeah. Yeah. And like everything, you know, you test it out and there's a lot of competition in every SKU, in every space, there's competition, but this one is going to be a really fun test. And again, just fits the story so well. Yeah. Because 3/4 of the year we're in wetsuits, you know, sometimes we're in wetsuits in July. Yeah. If there's upwelling or there's just, you know, a lot of south in the current, bringing the Gulf, pushing the Gulf Stream out. But, yeah, I think some more technical gear, you know, hopefully as our customers grow beyond just the fashion and lifestyle pieces, we'll come to trust that we have, you know, pants that are insulated and you can wear hiking, or a jacket that you can wear snowboarding or fishing, stuff that just combats the elements that we survive in. Yeah. And Jersey is not, you know, you're not looking at Jersey like maybe this super harsh environment, but it really is.
It can be.
It can be pretty harsh. The water gets really cold. The air gets cold and
like unpredictable. Especially like these last couple of months, it's been, you know, 60 degrees one day. We get the first snow 2 times in a week that we got, you know, in 3 years, basically. It's almost crazy.
Yeah, I can be frozen in Q1, January, February, March surfing. Or there could be these crazy spring-like days where, you know, I'm golfing or I'm outside in a t-shirt. Right. So, yeah, very unpredictable.
Yeah. I should have asked this question earlier, but because of like timing with the first segment, but when we're talking about Jetty Rock, and this is totally out of left field kind of question, just given the process of questions we've been going through so far, the events that you're doing, is there like a focus of the foundation? Like the events that you put on, the fundraisers that you do, is there kind of like a theme to those?
Yes. And there's basically 3 buckets where we donate to. Okay. One is environment and specifically clean water initiatives. We have a great oyster recycling program and can dive into that another time. Yeah. Community and education, which is really helping people that are down and out, whether it's cancer related. We have a couple surf contests that are kind of dedicated specifically to the people, or whether their house burnt down. And then the other one is really how it started was storm relief. Right. So I think there's 10 or 15 different natural disaster type events over the years, that starting with Sandy, and even, you know, like the Australian wildfires or the flooding in Vermont last year. There's not little things, but there's events that happen and spur us to say, ooh, who do we know in that area that just got affected? Yeah. You know, it might be a retailer in New Hampshire that their shop burnt down. Yeah. So let's use Jetty Rock Foundation to support them. Or it might be someone closer to home that's a friend of a friend that just, you know, is down and out and needs help, whether it's medical bills or, you know, help paying their mortgage. Yeah. And so sort of in the same vein as Jetty, doing just this vast array of different things.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it does kind of bring it back. Like we talked about community in the first segment a little bit and why that's like a big piece of what the brand really kind of stands for. And then that bucket is that's your roots right there.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to people. Yeah. You know, we're managing a bunch of people who are our staff and have become friends, and we're managing a network of retailers that are people that visit us at trade shows and that have become friends. And we're existing in communities, not only right here in Stafford, but basically across the country, across this huge retail network where there's just people that need help from time to time. Yeah. And I guess that's really the most incredible thing for me is along this whole journey, all the people we've met, you know, including you today. Yeah, sure. And whether there's a Jersey connection or a surf connection or an outdoor connection or even a competing brand that we hang with at the booth next to a trade show, there's been an unbelievable amount of relationship building, and the vehicle for it has been our brand.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I think, you know, you mentioned before kind of the different ways the different audiences, the different kind of communities that are involved. Like I've never surfed before in my entire life, but I know of Jetty, have owned Jetty things before. It's just like one of those things. Like now, like you said, that now you and I are here talking about this stuff because there's like a common ground type thing, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, at the end of the day, surfing is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And like I mentioned earlier, when the surf's not up, we do a tremendous amount of other things that we're passionate about.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the story is basically rooted in surf and us growing up as New Jersey surfers throughout all the seasons. And, you know, even if people don't surf, it appeals to them. The lifestyle appeals to them.
Yeah.
And it's a cool thing. And we have a great story to tell, whether we're surfing or we're not surfing.
Yeah, for sure. So as we get kind of closer to the end of this episode, I want to make sure that we hit like links and where people can go to get stuff and all that. So like, we'll do maybe the digital stuff. So like website, socials, like where should they be going for that stuff?
So website is jettylife.com. Everything that we have is available there.
Yeah.
And that's where also we'll drop special drops, or, you know, last year we did like a lucky fishing tee on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
And keeping up to date on our Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok is where those announcements take place.
Yeah.
And also on the website, you know, our flagship store downstairs has our full offering, as well. And then big shout out to our retailers. We have a function on the bottom of our webpage where you can search the retail locations. And,
I was going to say,
and, you know, I look at that map and it's another like pinch myself type of moment, because there's so many pins all over the United States and beyond. But there's, you know, if you want Jetty, you can find it.
Yeah.
And, you know, search us up, visit our website, and check out all the cool stuff that we have going on.
Amazing. Well, this has been really cool just to kind of like learn the story a little bit, get to know you a little bit more, actually visit the store. I think it's been awesome. So I appreciate you having me down here.
Yeah. Thanks so much for reaching out. And it's been great to meet another Jersey entrepreneur.
That's right. Yeah, for sure. So we'll make sure that we put the links and stuff in the show notes. People just go click them, and that way you can get stuff, find out where if there is a retailer right by you, you can go check that out, or just get some stuff from the website. We'll put the socials in there as well. And we'll also put, obviously, greetingsfromthegardenState.com, which is, of course, the website for the show. So you can get all of our other episodes there. Jeremy, thank you again. And this has been the Greetings from the Garden State podcast, powered by the New Jersey Lottery. I'm Mike Ham. We were here at the Jetty flagship store in Manahawkin with Jeremy DeFilippis. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time.